Hey everyone, welcome to today's Study Trader YouTube Live. There are many ways to lose money in the stock market, but through the lens of emotions, one of the easiest ways to lose money in the stock market is by being stubborn. I think stubbornness ultimately is one of the greatest capital destroyers for really any investor, whether it's a retail investor or an institutional investor. So stubbornness basically means that you think you're above the market. It means that you know something that everyone else doesn't know, and a lot of times with that kind of an opinion, which in itself is a problem that you have an opinion as opposed to letting the market guide you, it tends to lead to some big losses. So the message here today is to not get squeezed, and it's a current example for me. If you remember the video last Friday where I talked about I'm stopping out or something like that was, I think, the headline or the subject line of the video, and I was closing a short position we had in the S&P 500. We closed it for flat profits. I think we made a couple pennies on it, very small, but we closed it for flat profits because I increasingly felt we were being proven wrong, and I didn't want to get squeezed. Now, one of the simple rules when it comes to the stock market is that when a stock market is quiet, sort of in a news vacuum or the absence of news, a lot of times this happens during the summer or other slow periods in the market will tend to, the US stock market will tend to slowly push higher until, of course, the news flow picks up and there's some forces that will, sort of go against that. So the number one goal then has to be not to get squeezed. So let me show you guys what that looks like. So, like, for example, right now, here's a simple chart of the industrial transportation stocks, the IYT ETF. And so let's assume, and I didn't have any short positions on this, but a lot of people that I talk to, sort of in the more hedge fundy kind of a crowd, they have been somewhat underweight or at least not long transportation stocks, and for me too, I don't like industrial stocks right now. That's part of transportation stocks are parts of the industrial stocks, but that doesn't mean that you should be completely ignorant to a potential shorter term sort of break above this. So let's assume you were short or underweight transportation stocks. You don't want to get squeezed. In other words, at this point after yesterday's rally, you can see we have a marginal or at least an attempt to break higher. It's probably better just to step aside as opposed to doubling down on that position. And if and when we do see some sort of a bearish reversal where we would see a failure of going higher, one could maybe then reinitiate short positions. But if you don't do that, and especially in a slow market, it is entirely possible that a market like this or an asset or an ETF like that could indeed squeeze quite a bit higher, and that ultimately is going to lead to some big losses. And like we always say, the losses here, if you're being stubborn or not just financially, in other words, you're not just getting hurt financially, but also psychologically. And I just made a whole bunch of videos yesterday for Facebook, and we talked about sort of how if you lose money in the market or when you lose money in the market, if it's because of stubbornness, the issue you're going to have is that it's not going to just hurt financially, but also like I said, you're going to be in a bad position mentally. Ultimately, it can even hurt your family, your friends, and anyone around you, and that's the last thing you want. So the message here today is to not get squeezed in the market, meaning if you have a position and it goes against you, just get out. You can always reevaluate and get back in. But by not getting squeezed, i.e. by not getting stubborn, you can avoid a lot of issues. So that's an important message. Lastly, real quick, I talked about this yesterday. I have a special webinar taking place tomorrow, Wednesday, May 23rd. And I'm going to talk to you guys about how when I lost $300,000, how that literally changed the way I trade. And it's been a really wonderful path forward ever since. And in fact, what I'm going to talk about is a lot of the stuff that I just mentioned, how stubbornness in the market can really hurt you and how to overcome that. And specifically, I show you guys my approach to trading and investing that has allowed me to overcome that and becoming consistently profitable. So make sure to join us for that. It's again Wednesday, May 23rd at 7 p.m. Eastern. That's 7 p.m. New York time, 4 o'clock Pacific. and there should be a link to it down below in the should be a link down to sign up for that down at the description or in an email if you receive this by email. So have a great day. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Take care.